Welcome back all to the Exposing Grief YouTube channel, which you know our mission here is to remove that stigma of grief and expose it for what it truly is, which is that natural and healthy way of living and loving. Happy end of July. I hope you enjoyed the video earlier that I posted in this month about grief independence and separating yourself from the grief and making it just a part of who you are, not all of who you are. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to do that. It's some pretty good content and a good exercise for you to start working through that. But we are here today to listen to the interview that I had with Kelly McDyre with the Faith Lodge. She's the president and CEO of Faith Lodge, which is an amazing organization. So I'm super, super excited. Let's not waste another minute and let's jump in and hear what Kelly has to say. To bring this month's interviewee to you, Kelly McDyre, the president and CEO of Faith Lodge. I'm not going to waste any more time, and Kelly, I'm just going to hand it straight over to you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what led you to this line of work, and tell us a little bit more about your role at Faith Lodge.
Well, thank you. Hi. Yes, so I'm Kelly McDyre, president and CEO at Faith Lodge. And for those of your viewers who don't know what Faith Lodge is, we are a nonprofit organization, and we are dedicated to supporting parents who are grieving, parents and their families who are grieving the death of a child. So we do that in a dedicated facility that's located in Danbury, Wisconsin. And we give space to parents and their surviving children to kind of reflect on the past, renew strength for the present, and build hope for the future.
Love it.
So I came to Faith Lodge. It'll be 10 years in August.
Oh, yay!
The summer of my 10-year anniversary.
Oh.
I wish I didn't know about Faith Lodge, because the reason I do is because my sister lost her 12-year-old son August 1st, 2010. And she went to Faith Lodge in fall of 2010. And it was a life-changing experience for her and her family. She brought her husband and surviving son. And as someone who is very close to her, I was with her through the aftermath of his accidental death and have walked this journey of grief with her. What Faith Lodge gave her was something I couldn't. It was that connection with others who know what she's going through. Yeah. And I can tell you today, some of the people she met at Faith Lodge, she still calls them. She can call them, she can go 2 years, maybe, without talking, and pick up that phone and say, today is a tough day. Yeah. And they know exactly what she's talking about. So I do my best to support her, but she found this community. And so when the opportunity to work for Faith Lodge crossed my professional path, I thought, okay,
yeah,
well, maybe I'll go into nonprofit. And I have not looked back. It has been 10 years of really energizing work. And I can tell you, a lot of people say, oh, how depressing. Like when I left my old job, they're like, why?
Yeah.
But it is incredibly energizing to feel like I am lighting the path to hope for people like my sister. So that is kind of how I ended up here.
I love it. Yeah. And I hear you 100% on that. I get the same thing with people are like, oh my gosh, that must be really hard for you to sit with clients in grief. And I said, sure, there are some days that sessions are really tough. And what a beautiful thing we get to do of create and hold space. And like you said, light the path for people to find that hope and to learn how to grow around their grief and carry that loss. So absolutely. I hear you 100%. And congratulations on your upcoming 10-year anniversary. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. So can you share a little bit more specifically about the types of services that Faith Lodge offers?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start with the lodge itself. So Faith Lodge is a place. It is a dedicated facility. And for the last, it opened in August of 2007. So this summer is the 15-year anniversary of Faith Lodge.
Oh my gosh.
And, we've served over 10,000 people from 42 states and 3 countries, and we really have a long reach. But what happens at Fates Lodge is we do retreat weekends.
Yes.
So that is the main part of our programming. I want to tell you about another program that we created about 5 years ago, but to really focus on Fates Lodge as a facility is we're open year round. We program or offer retreats based on many different types of circumstances. Historically, it was bereaved parents of infant, toddler loss or older loss, or bereaved families of infant, toddler or older loss. And what that means is there's parent-only weekends, and then the family weekends are parents bringing their surviving children. They look a little different, the weekends do, in terms of the activities, but every weekend has 2 facilitated group discussion opportunities with a licensed mental health professional. There's one-on-one counseling opportunities. We feed everybody. Every room has its own bathroom, private balcony or deck, living space,
Beautiful.
TV, fireplace. It's really warm and inviting in terms of the facility itself. We have yoga, mindful meditation, we have massage therapy. We don't offer all of those on family weekends because it's hard to squeeze it in when there are lots of little kids, running around.
For sure. Yeah.
But we have other family style activities like bingo for the kids. And we have specific providers, licensed providers who come in just for the kids on family weekends and have age appropriate programs for littles, middles, teens that are guided through the Growing Through Grief program that Park Nicollet created 25 years ago. We pull in those materials for those family weekends, but it's awesome because the programming that we do at the lodge, like I said before, isn't about what we're doing there. What we're trying to do is connect people who are coping with the same circumstances.
Yes.
Where we've evolved to today is that, yes, we have those parent only for older or infant loss, families for older or infant loss, but we also offer suicide loss weekends. We also offer, this year it was new, we offer single parents who are grieving. So these are people who have said to us, hey, what about me? I'm a single parent and I'm grieving. I don't have the support of a spouse, or perhaps the person I'm married to is not the biological parent of the child that I lost. And it's a different dynamic. And so we've tried to listen to the needs of the guests coming through over the years and have added, for 2023, we're adding addiction and accidental overdose losses. Yes. We have bereaved moms weekends. I'm telling you, we can't keep up with the demand on that.
I'm sure.
It's not about the age of the child at the time of death or how they died. The fact is, the common denominator on those types of weekends is you're all grieving moms, period. Yes. You're in a club you don't want to be in. Yeah. And bereaved fathers. We've tried to do bereaved grandparent programming, but the demand, it's sort of there, but it's not quite enough. We've had a hard time kind of filling it. We are just excited. We try to listen to what the grief community is telling us they need. And we try to create programs to give them space then for the different types of losses. Yes. And the different circumstances. So.
And what a great way for the community to feel heard. I mean, obviously these support groups and, the retreats and everything that you're offering is, yes, that is the hope, to help them feel heard and guided and not feel alone. But even just in how you guys structure your programs, you're doing such a beautiful job of letting them know, hey, we hear you. And based on what we're hearing, we're providing services and creating programs or retreats that are speaking directly to what you're asking for. So that is amazing. I love it.
We're trying, along that line, we're also trying to pay attention to what's happening in our world.
Yes.
So you look at this last incident in Texas. We sat down as a staff and said, we can't offer our thoughts and prayers anymore. What can we do as an organization to help be part of the answer to
Yes.
this. And this is not a political discussion around gun control, but what can we do as Faith Lodge? Listen, we're going to create programs around loss to violent crime. And so it's not just about gun violence, but we know that there's a population of people out there who are losing children to violent crime. Doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter how they died. They're welcome to come. So we've added those programs as well. Again, trying to keep our finger on the pulse.
Absolutely. That's so important. Yeah, so important. So what might a family be experiencing within their grief journey that would lead them to Faith Lodge and benefiting from some of the many services that you've talked about?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when you say grief journey, I think that's it is a journey. And if you think of Faith Lodge, we're like a stop along the journey, right? So some people go once, some people come back. They found a magic there or a connection that they want to have again. And so they'll come back. And some people, they don't want to go to a place like Faith Lodge, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like everybody's journey looks different, feels different. We find that not everyone is wanting to connect with others who are grieving, but I would say a majority of people are feeling isolated. And so finding those connections can be really helpful if they're open to it.
Yes.
And so the very closest loss that I can relate to is my sister's, and how alone she felt after Carter's death. It was an accident on a Sunday afternoon, and it was covered by the news. And, she would be out somewhere and she would feel like people were like, oh, that's the mom.
Yeah. Oh,
what an icky feeling. It sort of pushes you further away from being willing to interact. And so what would bring people to Faith Lodge is the desire to reduce the feeling of isolation and understand that they're not alone, and that there are many others who have walked this journey before them, and they will survive.
Yeah.
Whether they feel like they want to at the time or not, they will. And it's okay to attempt to create space for your grief, to honor it, but then to leave space for the joy that remains in your life. and let the two kind of coexist. And, do we use those words specifically at Faith Lodge? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we just build the foundation for that space to exist.
Beautiful. And you kind of hinted at this a little bit, but would there ever be a situation in which a family may not benefit from the services, or they may, but it may not be the right time in their grief journey?
Yeah. And that's the hard thing. A lot of people will come to us and say, when should they come? What's the right time for them to come? Because people who aren't grieving, who know someone who's grieving, they want to fix them and they want to make them better, and they want to find, they want them to feel better so that everything is better.
Yes.
When should they come? I need them to come right away.
Yeah.
And the answer is, and I don't know if this answers your question. It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
It's just different. They have to want to come to Faith Lodge, and they have to be ready to connect with others.
And usually I'll find too, I'll have clients ask whether it's about like within their actually therapy services in their grief work, or, they're seeking out additional services. And typically and you might experience this too, and you've already talked about a little bit of like, well, when will I know? Like, when is the right time? And it's so hard because I tell them, you'll just know, right? Like you'll feel a gut experience, or there'll be something in you that says yes or no, like now is the time or now is not. And it happens every single time. The things we talk about, my clients are like, yeah, I think I'm ready. Like, I'm not excited about it, but I'm ready to do it. Whereas before I wasn't, whatever that may be. Right. So I 100% hear you.
It's really accurate. Yeah. And there isn't a right or wrong answer for any one person. And, what we found is that generally speaking, infant loss families tend to come sooner.
Sure.
And older loss families, it takes them a little bit longer to find the space for themselves. But it's, you know, at the suicide weekends, I'm telling you, that could be classified as older loss, but I'll tell you, the suicide weekends, when people find out we have lost to suicide, those fill up pretty quick. So, but it's different for everyone. And that is a tough question to answer. And I often answer it the same as you did. You know what? You'll just know.
Yeah.
And it's also okay to not be ready.
Absolutely.
Like, there is no pressure whatsoever. And I tell people, we will be here when you're ready.
Yes. Yeah.
It could be next month, next year, in 5 years. Yep. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that. Cause I would imagine there's some fear. And if I don't do this now, it's like a ship sailed, and it's like, well, no. Yeah. And, you know, some of my work looks different too, I'll be able to kind of highlight of, you know, you seem hesitant. Does this feel right for you? Right. And kind of helping them label that for themselves, because sometimes they feel like they have to. So it's nice for someone to be able to create a space like you're doing of, if this doesn't feel okay, that is okay. We will be here. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that you reassure them in that.
I also tell people, even the ones that are saying my friend has to go soon, or the people that they feel like they need to come, they have to. It's not gonna fix anything. Right. Like, there's no fixing. And I use that phrase loosely because a lot of guests have said, everybody wants to fix me. Mm-hmm. I'm broken and I will remain broken. And so what we really equate ourselves to is not a place where someone's going to come in and try and make you feel better. It's a soft place to land. Yeah. Broken. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. What a beautiful thing. Yeah, absolutely. Well, are there any events coming up that you at Face Lodge that you'd like to highlight and talk about?
Yes. Thanks for asking. Yeah. Well, as you know, July is Bereaved Parents Awareness Month. And so that's not an event for us, but it's a time that we recognize and want to help the world recognize that there's a lot of grieving parents walking around out there. Mm-hmm. And we are in July opening up sales for our tickets to Hope Rocks, which is our annual gala, which is one of the cornerstones of our fundraising efforts every year. But it's also a fantastic touch point for people to come understand what Fates Lodge is about, see the faces of the people that we serve. And one of my favorite things that we do at Hope Rocks is we have a memorial wall with the name of every child we've honored in the past. Now it'll be 15 years. Parents come and they look for their child's name and they, take pictures, take selfies. It's beautiful.
Oh, I'm getting chills. I love that. That's beautiful.
Hope Rocks is Friday, September 23rd. I think it's the 23rd. I should know. Yeah. Friday, September 23rd. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It was Thursday last year, so it's Friday this year. But yeah. So it's at Leopold's Mississippi Gardens in Brooklyn Park. Beautiful. And it is a beautiful night, and it is not sad. And just like, we don't sit around and hold hands and,
kumbaya
stuff at Fates Lodge. Hope Rocks is not like that at all either. It is a rocker chic theme. It is a celebration of hope is what it is. And it's really a pretty fun night, some live music and auctions. And I would say, I'm not going to hide the fact it is a fundraiser. So bring your checkbook, but come anyways.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that transparency. For those who are interested, do you guys have a flyer or anything that I can post a link to in the comments below of this interview so people can go right to that? Or
yeah. I'll send that to you.
Awesome.
Yeah, in the comments.
Wonderful. Well, so for the viewers who are interested, whether it's with this Hope's Rock or any of the great different retreats and everything that you offer, if they're interested in kind of exploring what might fit for them, if this is right in their grief journey, what would you say would be the next best steps for these families or these parents?
I would say the best place to go is our website, www.faithslodge.org. And there's everything on there. There's a description of what happens at a retreat. You can see a 360-degree view, like tour of what Faith's Lodge looks like. And you'll get an understanding of some testimonials of people who have come to Faith's Lodge and what it meant for them. You'll find there's a lot of people who are hesitant to come, who afterwards say, best thing I ever did. So the website is the best place to go because it also outlines the different kinds of programs we have and the dates and availability.
Perfect.
So lots of people, they plan ahead and they sign up, 6 months in advance, and they just know that it's coming.
Yeah.
So the website, honestly, Brittany, best place to go.
Perfect. And I will, for viewers, those of you who are interested, I will be putting that website link right below. So you should have no issues accessing it. You can click on it right there. Well, before we wrap up here, Kelly, is there anything else that you'd like us to know or that you want to highlight or anything else you'd like to say to our viewers who are tuning in today?
I thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Yeah. The only other thing I'd want to mention is that we do have another program called Hope Works Here, which was, again, listening to our people coming through the lodge, our guests coming through, saying going back to work was very difficult after the loss of their child. We've created a program that helps employers create a softer transition for employees returning to work after the death of a child. And there is a link on our website to Hope Works Here. And I would also say email if you have any questions, any list or any viewers out there who are in HR, call me.
Yeah.
That's it's something that we sell directly to companies. It's a benefit.
Perfect.
That
Absolutely.
is free to offer. So that's the only other thing. So thank you so
Wonderful.
much.
Yeah. And then if there are viewers, whether they want to talk about the Hope Works Here or just want to talk to you in general, is it okay if I put your email below so they can contact you directly? Awesome.
Please. Absolutely.
Yes. Good. Wonderful. Well, Kelly, I thank you again for your time. I think you gave some really great things. You've got some amazing things coming up. That Hope Rock sounds amazing. I might check it out myself. But we thank you again for having you here, and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. We will catch you on the flip side. Kelly, thank you again so much. I just appreciate your time, and I love the visual that you created for our viewers of lighting your path to hope. Oh, don't we need that, viewers? I hope you found this beneficial. And Kelly, I don't want to speak for you, but I would say if you don't take anything away other than this idea of trust when you're ready. If you're not ready, that's okay. Faith's Lodge is always going to be there. If that's the only thing you take away from this interview, fantastic. Know that it's available to you. It's not going anywhere. As I mentioned in the interview, the links and everything are below that we talked about. The website, the link for the Hope Rocks fundraiser, Kelly's email, all of that is down there for you, easily accessible if you need it. My email is also down there if you want to reach out to me. If you have any other questions, whether it's about Faith's Lodge or just your grief journey in general, let's connect. I'd be happy to answer those for you. If you haven't subscribed to the Exposing Grief YouTube channel yet, be sure to do that so you don't miss out on any other content. We will be back in August for some more content, so hold on, stay tuned, and we'll be back soon. Take care.